Hey Bob, what you up to today? Well, I'm going to give an attempt here to sand the scratches out of these console pieces and dashboard pieces. This is 6364 Chrysler. Now let's just see how we can improve things. Yeah, you can see lots of little scratches. That would be the ignition switch right there. Very well. Now and then you can see the scratches depending on how I hold the light, but they show up like a sore thumb. Let's see what we can do. We've got sanding papers and a block. Here's the piece after half hour sanding with 320, occasionally using 280. You can see where I have done and where I have not done. Now see that little groove defect? Yeah, there were some on the other side. Where you can work them out from the back with a hammer and a form or whatever you want. And where else you can't, just sand. So this is just 320, and let's continue with 400. Here we have the whole thing completed with 280 and 320. The 280 is good for getting the scratches out of it. 320 brings it up. The next step, we will proceed to 400. I hit it with 400 and followed with 600. You probably can't tell any kind of difference. It's a shiny thing, the lights are reflecting on it. The difference between 400 and 600. Pretty much 400 and 600, all they're going to do is increase the shine. If you've got a defect, 400 and 600 aren't going to touch it. So you've got to go back to your 280s, 320s in order to affect any kind of correction. And here's the finished part after buffing. It's actually got too much of a shine, so I'm going to have to knock this down a little bit. Knocking down the shine is easier than building it up. So finishing up now this console piece. I had buffed it to the point where it was too glossy and wanted to kill the gloss back to more of a factory. So I went and got some 3000, and that's a wet sanding paper. You probably can't tell in this light, but just gentle strokes, one direction, and it knocked the gloss down right where I wanted it. So that piece is done. Now let's see what we can do on this piece. This is the radio ignition switch, decorative panel bezel if you prefer, 6364. And this is where the ignition key is, and you can see how the scratches have really gotten into here. Let's see what we can do. This one I had to get down to 150 in order to get enough bite to remove the scratches. So 150, then 280, 320, 400, 600, and now we'll see what the buffing wheel can do. I didn't do the whole thing, and this is a more difficult piece because you can't use a sanding block. Got to use your fingers. And that's all the time I have for today. But I wanted to show you that I was able to clean up those ignition key marks and get right back to a mirror finish. I don't have time today to complete the entire part, but now that the method is established, all I need to do is continue and the whole bezel can be done. See? And then went to the stainless steel buffing, and that brought it up. And if I find that it's too much of a gloss, I will again lightly hit it with 3000 and bring it down.